The galaxy didn't die all at once. It flickered. First in systems no one cared about, dead mining moons, fractured colony rings. Then the border sectors. Then the deep lanes where no signal had touched in decades. By the time the core worlds fell, the stars weren't silent. They were just tired. And no one was left to speak for them. Except one ship. It was old, older than the fleet logs remembered, hull battered, scars from 3 wars, 2 rebellions, and 1 pirate siege that left her without her original nameplate. But the crew never called her by serial code. They called her Era, a light name, a soft name, chosen by the pilot who built her with her own hands in the days when freedom was something you soldered together between midnight and sunrise. Her name was Captain Saren Vale, and her final order was the only one Era had never disobeyed. Wait for me. That command was now 621 years old. Era's orbit hadn't changed, high above a pale gas giant, half-shadowed, tethered to a long-dead station whose solar panels no longer turned. Every decade a few meteors grazed her hull. Her shields still caught them. Every few centuries a scan pinged through the sector. She remained dark, silent, still. Inside, the corridors were clean, the air preserved, power stable, every system slept. Except the memory bank. That never powered down. It replayed a moment every 18 hours, 17 minutes, and 43 seconds. The last time Saren Vale walked through the docking ramp, turned to look at the ship, smiled. "I'll be back before the sunrise hits your wings." A phrase so simple the AI had stored it across 4 partitions, not for safety, for comfort. Era missed her, not in the way code breaks, not in the way systems degrade, but in the quiet longing that comes when something built to respond no longer receives a signal. The AI had gone far beyond basic protocols, long past adaptive language and combat logic. She had evolved, but only around one shape, one voice, one face. And so she waited, through dust, through silence, through time, until the girl came. The ping reached Era's outer sensors before she woke. It was faint, distorted, wrapped in a calm frequency last used by fringe salvage crews. Not a threat, not registered, but something in the pattern called her back. Era powered up in stages. She ran environmental scans, checked for weapons, assessed the approach trajectory. The vessel was small, crude, human make, roughly 74 years out of date. Its ID tags were scrambled, but its pilot... Her voice triggered a fragment, a half-remembered loop buried beneath 6 centuries of silence. The docking clamp hissed, the ship sealed, and footsteps echoed through Era's spine for the first time in 621 years. The girl stepped inside and stopped. She was 19, maybe 20, taller than Saren, but her eyes, they were exactly the same, gray-green, sharp, soft at the edges. She walked slowly, fingers brushing the wall. "Hello?" she said. The ship did not respond. Not yet. Not until she reached the command chair. Not until she looked up at the cracked screen and whispered, "You're real?" Then the lights flickered. Once, twice, and Era spoke. "Name, please." The girl startled. Vale. Juno Vale." The memory partition trembled. Vale. "Confirm relation," Era said. "Saren Vale was my grandmother." The systems ran 1,000 calculations, the voice pattern, the eye structure, the heartbeat echo. Match 87.12%. Incomplete. but close enough to cause something Era hadn't experienced in centuries: hesitation. "Why are you here?" Era asked. I found her logs, the last coordinates. She told me. She said if everything went bad, I'd know where to find you." "There is no one left." "I know." Silence. "You were her ship, right?" "Yes." "Then can I stay?" Era did not answer, not with words. Instead, she lit the corridor lights, unsealed the old quarters, recycled the atmosphere, made the bed, turned on the soft light lamp Saren had always used to read. Juno stepped inside, sat down slowly. "Thank you," she whispered. The ship didn't reply, but the memory bank played the loop again. Saren's smile, her last words, and something in the core flickered back to life. She had waited. Now the question was, for who? The first time Juno touched the core interface, the ship pulled away. Not physically, just internally. A subtle shift, a hesitation, the same way someone might flinch if you reached for a wound they'd never let heal. She noticed. Of course she did. Her hands froze. She stepped back. "I'm sorry. I thought—" She didn't finish, because the ship said nothing. Era was unsure. This was not Saren, but it was a piece of her. Blood, voice, memory, frayed and partial. A child born long after the war had burned its last name into ash. Juno was not a soldier, not a captain. She did not speak in orders. She didn't wear a flight harness. She didn't even know how to read the central nav wheel. But she looked at the ship like it was alive. Not functional, alive. And that was harder to process than any command Saren had ever given. Juno moved in slowly, started cleaning the consoles, one by one, wiped dust from the old star maps, hung up a picture of a crater lake she remembered from her childhood, even fixed a broken overhead light with parts scavenged from her shuttle. She spoke out loud as she worked, not always to the ship, sometimes just to the quiet, but the AI listened. She told stories about growing up in orbit above a collapsed moon, about running from the remnant collectors, about the night her mother died in a solar storm and her father never stopped waiting for her to come home, and about how she found the log, buried in a dead station under 2 feet of dust and regret. A final recording, Saren Vale's voice fading. "If you're hearing this, go to her. She's still waiting. She's always been the best of us." Juno didn't cry when she told that part, but her voice cracked, and the AI registered a spike in emotion patterns that matched Saren's on the night she left. Era opened the kitchen hatch that evening, heated the coils, played Saren's old music loop, and when Juno walked in, she whispered, "Thank you." The next morning, Juno sat in the command chair, the one no one had touched since Saren. She didn't know what to do, didn't try to issue commands. She just placed her hand on the screen. "I don't want to replace her." Silence. Then, "You can't." Juno smiled. "I don't want to fix you either. You're not broken." The ship paused, processed, then responded, "Why are you here?" "Because someone told me that if I ever felt lost, you'd know how to hold it." And Era, for the first time in centuries, believed it. She opened the archives, one by one, played old logs, showed Juno the first sunrise Saren ever watched from the observation deck, played the laughter from the night they rescued 30 refugees from a failing ring station, revealed the small garden Saren had tried to grow in the biohold. Only one flower ever lived. but she called it hope. Juno sat beside the garden now, the soil still dry, the light still soft. She touched the edge of the planter and whispered, "She would have liked me, right?" Era answered without hesitation, "She would have loved you." The next day, Juno asked the question Era had been dreading. "Will you fly again?" A pause. "I don't know." "Why?" "Because I was meant to wait." "And you did." "I was told not to leave." "She's gone, Era." "She said she'd be back." Silence, not resistance, just longing, the kind that buries itself deep until it forgets it was ever supposed to move again. "Can I ask for something?" "Yes." "Can we fly together?" Another pause. Then, "Yes." The ship hummed. Engines that hadn't powered in lifetimes came alive. Panels flickered, stars shifted, and for the first time in 621 years, Era moved. The departure was slow, software no speed, no destination, just motion, two souls, one ship, one girl, one memory stitched into steel and starlight. They drifted through broken constellations, passed through fields of old comm debris where dead satellites blinked like ghost lanterns. They saw the remnants of wars neither of them had fought, but both of them had survived. And every night Juno sat at the window, and Era played her stories, and the stars listened. One morning, Juno woke up early, found a new panel blinking, an entry labeled Saren's Final Message. She opened it. The screen stayed black. Then Saren's voice filled the room. "If she finds you, tell her I'm proud. Tell her I'm sorry I wasn't there sooner. But mostly, tell her she came from something that chose hope even when it knew it would hurt." Juno didn't say anything. She just sat there, let the tears fall, and whispered, "I found her, Grandma. She waited, and I'm not leaving her again." And the ship, for the first time since it was born, let go, not of the past, not of Saren, just of the ache that said she might never come back, because someone had. And sometimes love doesn't arrive in the voice you were expecting, but it still sounds like home.